At the beginning of 2024, I made a poll here on YouTube and on Instagram to ask you what your main health goals in this year are. And most of you answered to feel more balanced mentally and emotionally. And I was actually quite surprised about that, but I think it's also beautiful because what I've found over years is that everything starts within. Like our outer reality is going to change from within, from the inside out. It doesn't work the other way around. And today I wanted to share with you 10 tools that have helped me to feel more balanced mentally and emotionally. Now, disclaimer, why would you listen to me? You don't have to. Like, I'm no guru, I'm no therapist, I'm no expert. I'm just here sharing what has helped me on my healing journey, and maybe some of these tools resonate with you. And yeah, the first tool that has been immensely helpful for me in the last few years, I've discovered it, I think during the pandemic, is gratitude. I think I saw a TikTok that just said that, studies have shown that if you just write down 3 things you're grateful for every day, that can already improve your mental health, your emotional health immensely. So I just started writing down like 3 things I'm grateful for regularly. I didn't do it like every day, but whenever I would remember it, I would do it. And often even simple things like a roof over my head, delicious, healthy food in the kitchen. But it can also be more complex things like our life situation, like our friends, our family. There can be so many things that we can be grateful for. And when we shift our focus away from what we don't have and we shift it to what we actually do have, how much abundance there is in our lives, then that is the easiest way for more abundance to come into our lives, because what we focus on is what we move towards. So when we focus on all the good in our life, then automatically, at least that has been my experience when I started focusing on the things that I did have. Even when I was completely broke and all I had was, I don't know, like $500 to my name or something, I would focus on those $500 that I did have. And then more and more money started coming in because I was focusing on the fact that I do have money, that I am wealthy. And then that way, the universe has a much easier time to bring more into your life, versus if you constantly focus on, oh my God, I'm broke, I don't have any money, then that's the kind of thought loops that we have in our head. And that's the outer reality that we're going to experience. So that has been immensely helpful for me. The second tool is something you already know by having probably watched some of my What I Eat in a Day videos, and that is food. Food has been probably my primary medicine in all areas, not just my physical health, but also my mental and emotional health. The biggest switch I made was no longer consuming dead animal parts and animal products. And without even having realized it, back in the days, I started volunteering at a yoga center in Byron Bay, Australia, and they pretty much only served vegan food. They had some vegetarian options, but then I met a friend who said he eats vegan, and I was like, okay, I would love that too. And then he said, best sentence I've probably ever heard, just go for it, and then I just went for it. I ate only the vegan options, and with time I realized how my mental and emotional health started improving so much. I think that was probably the first change I noticed from going vegan. And later on I found out that the reason that is because we're no longer absorbing all of the suffering from the animals, especially animals in slaughterhouses, or just like right before they die. Obviously, like when you lose your life, especially when it is in such a terrible and just non-humane way as it is done in slaughterhouses, we absorb all these emotions from the animals. At least I've experienced a huge shift when eliminating those things, but then also, eliminating a lot of processed foods, a lot of junk food that makes me feel not energized because all my energy goes to digestion. That makes me not have the energy to put my dreams into practice, to go out and do the things that are required for me to do, to get my goals, to, work, to make these videos. All of these things require energy, but when all that energy goes into our digestive processes, we're not actually able to take action towards our dreams and towards our goals. So for me, eliminating heavy foods that cause a lot of strain on my digestive system has been huge. Obviously, it also opens up a lot of stuff, because when, for a little while in my life, I have been eating a lot of junk foods, and that was because I have had so many emotional things going on at that time that I didn't know how to deal with at that moment. So the only solution I had found back then was to just suppress these feelings with a lot of very heavy foods. So when you then start eating lighter, then all these emotions start coming up. So we need to find ways to learn to deal with that. And that also brings me to the third tool, and that is accepting help. Accepting help from friends, but also from therapists and from mentors and coaches. I've worked with a lot of therapists and mentors over the years. I've received, and I'm so grateful for my amazing friends that have also helped me become more free from, old childhood traumas, and have helped me to work through that just by having talks and all these different things. So accepting help and having that willingness to change, that is also important, because, for example, if you have a therapist but you're not willing to change anything, then the therapist can be the best therapist in the world. And again, I'm not like at an accomplished place where everything is perfect, but when I compare my inner state to where it was a few years ago, it's two different worlds. Like, I cannot even describe the difference probably in this video. But yeah, I think a big reason for that is just because I've had a huge willingness to change. And what motivated me to have that willingness is another tool that I would like to share, and that is clarity. Having a pen and a paper and writing down what it is that I actually want has been tremendous for me, because that way I knew also what I don't want, and that I can actually change it, and actually trusting the universe that it is possible to change all these things. So clarity, knowing what I want, and also trusting that I can create these things for myself. And yes, some of these things take time. I think we often underestimate how much we can change within like 10 years or even 5 years. And we overestimate how much we can change like in a month or in a year. We want always these quick and instant results, and we want everything that we want right now. But when I look back at my life and I look at the things that I wanted 5 years or even 3 years or even 1 year ago, a lot of these things have come to fruition. It's just that when we're so busy with our everyday lives, we often don't actually notice that the universe gives us what we want if we ask for it, and if we actually know what we want. I feel like your emotional and mental health also starts improving, because you no longer feel like you're a victim of your circumstances, but you are in control and you have the power. So yeah, and that brings me also to the fifth tool that I have gotten from one of my mentors, Laura Marlina Seiler, and that is forgiveness. Again, I will say I haven't probably forgiven everything or everyone in my life that has done things to me that I maybe felt weren't really nice. But I have forgiven especially the people very close in my life for a lot of things, and I have forgiven a lot of people, and I've also forgiven life for a lot of things that have maybe happened to me. I feel like we all have some things in our lives that we maybe regret that life has thrown at us. And just forgiving life for that has been really, really helpful for me, because I no longer have that resentment, that anger stored up inside of me. But again, I still have stuff to work through. I'm nowhere near where, I envision myself to be in my inner state, mentally and emotionally and spiritually as well. But yeah, and another thing that has really helped me with anger, because I feel like, I don't know if every one of us, but I feel like a lot of us have a lot of stored up anger inside of us. And something that has been immensely helpful for me to deal with that anger is running, because it's such an intense sport. And to me, that's just such an amazing way to let that anger come up and then channel it into the running and into the exercise that I do. So yeah, and then also obviously running is really, really great for our heart health, and many studies have shown that our brain and our heart, the more connected they are, the more capacities in our brain and in our intuition we can unlock. So by strengthening our heart health, I feel like also the connection between brain and heart gets strengthened. I don't know, maybe you've heard of the brain-heart coherence by Dr. Joe Dispenza. And then the 7th tool that really, really helped me with my mental and emotional health is learning to say no, especially to different events, different gatherings with maybe that were in an environment that I didn't really feel like fits me that much anymore. I've realized over the years that I crave a lot of depth with the relationships that I have in my life with my friends. And I've realized that a lot of places where I would go on a regular basis to meet up with people, I was lacking that depth. And then I felt so empty when I would come back home. So I've started to say no to a lot of gathering and events that I just felt weren't really uplifting me. I've said no to friends as well. I've let go of friends, which I think is a natural process of life. And new friends started coming into my life where there's a lot more resonance and where I feel a lot more connected on a deeper level. And that has been incredibly healing for my soul and my spirit. To just have these deep soul connections with the people in my life. So, and I feel like when you have these kinds of connections, it always brings you so much into the present moment. And that's another tool that has been really, really helpful for me. And again, I want to reference back to the mentoring and the therapy that I have received, which I'm incredibly grateful for. I've worked with some amazing people, and that has always helped me bring me more into the present moment. And then of course also the teachings of, maybe you know him, Eckhart Tolle, have been so helpful. So I love listening to his lectures, watching his YouTube videos. Sometimes I read his books mainly the Stillness Speaks book, which is my favorite of his. And the 9th tool for me has been sleep, because we process so many emotions during sleep. Our brain rewires during sleep. We process emotions. We even can process old traumas during our sleep, especially if we do things like meditation before going to bed, or also after waking up, when our brain is still in the theta waves, which is when a lot of healing is being allowed. I hope I explain all of this correctly, because again, I'm no expert, I'm no guru. This is just what I've been absorbing over the years from watching a lot of YouTube videos, reading some books, watching podcasts, doing online courses, receiving mentoring and therapy. That brings me to the last tool, and that is meditation. And meditation has also absolutely changed my life. And if you want to learn more about how I meditate and maybe have some tips on, the physical discomfort we maybe experience during the meditation, or not having time for it, or not knowing how to deal with all these thoughts, then definitely make sure to check out my other video about meditation that I made. And I wish you a wonderful day.